Hello leaders, and welcome back to the Leader Portal and our session overview videos. During this video, we will be discussing Session 9, Anger Control and Conflict Resolution. Many youth face the challenge of managing their emotions in a socially acceptable and physically healthy manner. Keep in mind that this is natural for the youth as they learn socio-emotional and self-regulation skills. It has been well documented that adolescents with impulse control issues make behavioral choices that often place them at risk. Aggression results in physical harm, relational conflict, and punishment that deprives the youth of positive opportunities and success. This conflict can escalate with frustration and lead to destructive outcomes in a family. The goal of this session is for the youth and their parents to learn social skills that manage their anger. The youth will also learn nonviolent and productive ways to help control their anger and resolve conflict. More specifically, the youth and their parents will identify triggers that result in angry feelings. The families will identify cues that indicate that they are angry, and parents will become more vigilant in supervising the conflict situations of their children. This session also provides participants with anger management skills that will prevent destructive outcomes and provide opportunities for positive social relationships. This will prepare the youth for a successful adulthood. Lastly, parents will learn skills to strengthen their relationships with their children by 1. Reducing conflict and threats, and 2. Fostering more positive communication.
First on the schedule is housekeeping. Before this session starts, begin the circulation of a sign-up sheet for the potluck dinner that will be held at the graduation ceremony. Also, prepare a flip chart that shows the anger process. This includes triggers, cues, and anger reducers, all adding up to anger control. Refer back to the leader manual that shows more information on this process. Also, there's an in-session demonstration video on triggers, cues, and reactors found on the Session 9 tab on the Leader Portal.
The first activity for the night is the anger process. Begin the activity by having the leader ask the following question: why is it important for us to control our anger? Responses for this question could be, when we get angry, we do things that get us in trouble. Or, we feel more in control of our lives when we can control our anger. Have the group use statements like these to come up with more examples for responses to this question. Next, refer to the flip chart that you previously made and explain to the group that in order to control our anger, it is first necessary for us to understand the anger process. Explain each part of the anger process, including triggers, external and internal, cues, and anger reducers. You can refer to your leader manual for full definitions of all of these terms. If there is time, have the group split into small groups and complete the anger control small group discussion. Plan for at least 20 to 30 minutes to provide the families with the knowledge of triggers, cues, reactors, and reducers so that they can apply these ideas to challenges in their real lives.
Activity 2 is youth skits on conflict. Group leaders will discuss possible conflicts encountered with peers, parents, or at school. Leaders will then help them come up with skits that illustrate these situations. It's important to remember that youth will come up with 2 skits, each with a different ending. The first skit will illustrate a conflict that has a bad result as the end. The second skit will illustrate the same conflict but with a different result. This result will be a positive outcome. Leaders, it's important to note that the youth may try and rush through this activity, but the most benefit will come from youth understanding that there can be different results that they have control over. Be active in helping the youth come up with skits. It's important that they use triggers, cues, reactors, and reducers in their skits because the parents will need to identify these later. Make sure that each youth has a chance to participate in the skits, and then perform the skits in front of the entire group, parents included. After each skit has been performed, ask the families to identify the reducers, the reactors, the triggers, and the cues in the skits performed. The goal of this activity is to help families learn why the second skit led to a better outcome in managing the anger. Finally, during the discussion after the activity, emphasize that these anger management skills can be applied to each individual life. Ask the families how they plan to do this.
The third activity for the night is the parent activity. This can be done while the youth are creating their skits. The parents can begin developing their What We Like About You cards with each child's name on top of a card. The parents can write a positive comment for each child, and you, the leader, can collect this for use during the graduation ceremony. Examples of comments include, "You are enjoyable to be around," "You have a great sense of humor," or "You offered great ideas to the group discussions." Once the parents are finished with this, they can begin discussing conflicts that they may encounter either with their children, at work, or with a significant other. The parents can do as the youth and come up with 2 skits with 2 alternate endings, one that escalates the anger and one that resolves the anger.
Activity 4 is the presentation of the skits. If you would like, the leader can videotape the skit so that the youth and the parents can see the playback and look at the different outcomes of each skit. When performing, remember that the skit with the negative outcome should be performed first. More detailed questions for discussion can be found in your leader manual. Your discussion should also include some of the advantages of resolving conflicts.
Next, there will be time for group discussion. Call the group back together and ask 2 volunteers to come forward and role play an anger situation, one with a less effective outcome and one with a more effective outcome. Ask other pairs of the participants to come forward and do the same. An ideal situation will be having the youth act out their skits in front of their parents and having their parents act out their skits in front of the youth. Once this is complete, pass out the hassle log. This is a great way for the youth to keep track of episodes in their week that could potentially make them angry. This will encourage them to keep a record of their anger and how they responded. Lastly, encourage the youth to implement the new skills that they have learned during today's session.
Wrapping up this session, go over the details for next week, which is the graduation ceremony. Make sure that you give the youth their homework and have the parents sign up for the potluck dinner. Next week's homework will include a 1-page summary of the 10 weeks and what the youth have learned. Encourage them to refer back to their takeaway sheets because these will have the best things for them to write about.